Hey, I am Robby Bear, CEO of Movieguide, and this is the Movieguide Podcast, where we are going to talk about anything and everything from a Christian lens on how you, as a Christian parent, can live in a crazy digital world. And this is my very good friend, my brother-in-law, and producer in studio,
Jeremy Carroll.
And we have amazing crew behind you all working. And so we are excited to talk with you about something that you are really going to want to listen to. Hey, speaking of dumb things, I was noticing the other day is I think it's interesting that there's a different kind of mug if you're a coffee drinker or a tea drinker.
This is true.
Because a coffee drinker, the mugs are kind of like petite. Like a tea drinker, like you want to get as big a mug as possible. You want it just huge, absolutely huge, to be able to get as much tea as possible. And the reason why is because tea has almost no caffeine at all. Why do we drink tea? Who knows? It makes no sense at all. I actually read an article the other day that tea, like even the most powerful teas, have like 30 milligrams of caffeine. Yeah, and I think coffee has like 160.
Yeah,
so
per cup, right?
I know. It's just insane. But
I wish I had coffee right now.
The thing I learned about coffee too, because I watched this video on YouTube, which is always right. No, I'm just kidding. It's usually full
just
of
like
all
Wikipedia.
sorts of weird things.
It's always correct.
That's right.
Yes.
Is that they were talking about how this guy did a whole YouTube on how coffee changed everything. Like
yes.
It basically brought all modern advances to the Western world. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's a great video talking about the
Did you see
industrial
that?
resolution or whatever.
Resolution.
Industrial
he
revolution.
Didn't drink coffee at this point. He doesn't even remember.
This is why you drink coffee, people.
He doesn't even remember stuff. Okay, well, there's actually a couple things that are trending because I looked up on trending things. And one of the things that was trending that kind of weirded me out a lot is, did you read that Alexa you can now change the voice for Alexa? Okay, so Alexa's that computer thing that you can speak to,
like
and ask it to play
Google Home.
Yeah, like
Siri.
play music, or it's like Siri but actually smarter.
Actually,
because Siri can do nothing.
Yeah.
If AI ever gets sentient to like kill people, I'm sure I'm top of the list for all the things I've told Siri how bad she is at everything. Just everything.
Well, they can't. It has no idea who Evie is, my wife, so she's safe.
She's totally safe. Terminator will be like, we can't kill Evie. We don't know who she is. But the thing is that they now have the ability to change the voice. And one of their big features that they announced to everyone is a voice for a past deceased person. So you could put on a deceased person to be your Alexa voice. And I just think that that is so weird and a little bit like dishonoring a little bit.
It's not weird at all.
It's so weird because
it's too weird.
Like my lovely mother, is in heaven now, and like I wouldn't want her on the Alexa voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like a weird thing.
So you can ask your deceased relative to set your egg timer and let you know when your oven's ready.
I know. And the thing is that you're so frustrated with those things all the time. You don't want to be frustrated with someone you loved in the first place that are not doing stuff.
Hey, Pop, is my timer ready yet? You don't have a timer set.
Right. The other thing I was thinking about that has nothing to do with anything trending, okay? But it has something to do with something trending in my own life is, so I got 4 kiddos, and as you know, obviously because you live 12 minutes from me, so of course you know.
There's 4 now. No,
wow, it's a surprise. Is the fact that William is... he's 3 years old. He's turning 4, which is so awesome. He's turning 4 this week. But he's now gotten like super into sports. Okay. And the thing that he's like super passionate about is baseball because he found a baseball glove somewhere. And so he, I don't even know where he got it from. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like a fish taking a water. Huh?
Yeah. And so he is just playing baseball all the time. And so we looked into like signing him up for baseball and everything. And our local league, the games are on Sunday at 10 a.m.
Oh, good. During church.
Yeah. And it's like it was just such a weird thing because it's like, man, what are you supposed to do from the church? And the woman was like so mad that we couldn't do it. But it was like, how can we do that? Like, what do they expect for like people who go to church, which is like,
well, I'm sure they're
still
having,
like 180 million people in America.
I'm sure they're having a hard time getting people to volunteer and coach and all that stuff because people are going to be at church on Sunday.
I know, exactly. Like the dads who probably want to volunteer are at church on Sunday, you know? So they got mad at us, but we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But I think that's like such a sad sort of symbol of our culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That they would even do that.
Preserving Sunday for church and...
Like, why? You have all of Saturday.
Yeah.
Already. Just do it on Saturday, people.
Did you find another league or anything? Or
I don't know. We're going to look around at different leagues, but the thing is that I don't know. Did you play baseball growing up or no?
I didn't play baseball. I played soccer with a league through my church/school, and that worked out well. I think it was Saturday mornings.
Yeah,
we got a donut if we won.
I think. Wow, that's amazing. I remember like I played soccer, baseball, and then in high school I did football. But I remember, I think it was on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And like the real key about it, because like one of the things I thought about doing was like volunteering to be a coach. I thought that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when I thought about it a lot more is that like baseball is like a super complicated thing to teach like 3-year-olds. You know what I mean? Because like soccer, like it makes sense. Like you take a ball and you kick it in the goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's mostly just teaching kids how to do teamwork. Yeah. Because you already get the premise. Like baseball, like you have to learn how to like hit the ball, catch the ball with a glove, run the bases at the right time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's actually like, wow, I never gave like T-ball coaches credit, but really, those guys are like masterminds of taking like complex things and like making it
5
simple.
different ways to get somebody out. Tag them with the ball, tag
it's
the
like
base.
super complicated. And then also like it's so, you know, like when you were kids, like you loved all the symbols, you know, you touch your ear, and, you know, like your coach would do all of these symbols to tell you if you needed to steal the base or to bunt or something like that. Like, you create your own little language. Like it's actually quite complex sport, you know. So maybe I'm saved by not having to coach it on Sundays now.
My indoor soccer was kick the ball, don't get kicked.
Indoor soccer is really hard.
It's really fun though.
It's very fast,
very intense.
Yeah.
But go out of bounds.
I remember the thing that was like most loved about like the sports stuff was, like every week, you know, a different mom would bring, like snacks or whatever.
Yeah, orange slices.
I know.
Classic.
The thing is that my parents like didn't have that much money growing up, so like our snacks were like terrible. But my mom was so fun that like people didn't care, but it was terrible. But you always loved like at that time for me, which I know I'm older, it was like if a mom brought like a kudos bar, or like a Capri Sun. Yeah. Those like Capri Sun things, you know what I mean? Like that was like, oh my gosh, that was like,
those were like fought over.
Yeah, those were like amazing.
The kudos is hilarious because it's literally a candy bar.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, well, it's, you know, granola inside the chocolate.
Yeah.
So it's healthy, right?
I know. Like the things that we considered healthy as kids, like now everyone's just like, oh, that doesn't even count. You know?
Yeah. What's the snacks? Like, what are the snacks now? Like, I mean, gluten-free vegan wafers for the kids and they're fainting on the field. Or something.
I know. Like Capri Sun, they'd be like, oh my gosh, how could you possibly do that? I mean, we thought Tang was like a
Tang.
healthy thing, you know? Yes. And that was like the most synthetic thing possible, you know? Like, or Lunchables. Like Lunchables were like kingpin, you know?
Those are sought after too. You'd have to trade a lot to get a Lunchable.
I know. I had like a tuna fish sandwich. I mean, imagine trying to trade a tuna fish sandwich. Nobody wants that. I didn't even want that. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like back on the healthy list now.
Yeah, but like, Lunchables. I mean, those things can last the apocalypse. Like those things can survive for like 20 years.
Those are the kids' MREs out there.
That's right. It is like the local kids' MREs.
Those are like luxury though, you know.
Oh my gosh, those
the
were
pizza
like,
ones came out.
Oh my gosh, those were so swank.
It was like, oh, I'm gonna make my own pizza.
Those
You're like squeezing the sauce out of a package.
I actually loved that time in school was like the trading. I even loved that more than the school part because like the trading during lunch to like trade up to like the best foods. Oh, that was amazing. That was so good.
Economics.
The key was to always walk away with chicken fingers. If you got chicken fingers, you were king. You know, and so
it's applied economics.
That's right. Actually, it is. It probably taught us more about economics than those 8 hours at a desk. Yeah. You know, but
exactly.
I don't know. It is school time though. Kids are That's
right.
Getting into
that
school.
came up quick.
I know, your daughter.
She's starting
school for the first time.
Kindergarten. She's all excited.
Dude, tomorrow? Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Insane. Yeah, she's so excited. It's going to be fun.
How big is the class?
It's like 20-something students, I think.
Wow, that's pretty big.
Yeah. I think she has 2 teachers, like one teacher and a teacher assistant.
What?
So,
dang, that's swanky.
Yeah. Yeah. We're excited. She's going to love it. She's already so excited. You know, she's picked out her backpack and all the little things she needs and everything. So.
I remember that was so fun getting all the, but nowadays they probably don't, they all have tablets. They all have computers. No, I'm just kidding.
Our school, no tablets allowed. So
okay.
No computers.
No technologies. They just come in.
There's these things called books.
Oh, I've heard of this.
You don't even have to charge them.
Wow.
Yeah. Cutting edge.
Wow. So she's starting tomorrow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's so cool. Have you met any of the other families or the kids yet?
Yeah, I met a couple of the families, and we found out they go to our church and everything. So we're excited to like connect with other families who have kids the same age, that kind of thing. Wow. So that'll be good. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be an adjustment because I mean, I haven't been in school for so long now.
I know.
And like sitting through those meetings and stuff again, it's like, oh, it's all coming back.
I know. It's like forgetting all of that.
Yeah.
That stuff. I mean, we've kind of gotten us skirted a little bit because we've been homeschooling our littles, you know. But you're right, because there's all those things that you totally forget about school. You're just like, I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
In the mix of it.
It's funny because they're even talking about like where to park and where to pick up and all this stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, you had to like, as a parent now, you're on the other side.
Yeah.
As a kid, you're like, I go to the curb.
Yeah.
Hope mom's there on time.
And it's the worst when they're not there.
Yeah. And now you're on the other side. You're like, I got to get there on time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's funny. I still remember, and before cell phones, of course, I mean, we're not going to give Audrey a cell phone until she's like in high school or whatever.
Right. Until she's 30 years old.
Until she's 38. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I remember being left on the curb, watching my mom drive away as the fog's rolling in Northern California.
Wow, this is he's an artist, people.
And our basketball practice was canceled and everyone left because they had cell phones to call their parents and I didn't.
Wow.
So I sat in the freezing cold.
Cell phones didn't really come out until I was in high school.
Yeah.
And then smartphones were when I was in college.
Yeah.
So the thing is that, at the very beginning of cell phones, like you had to pay for like every minute. So there was like a whole art to like, I'm okay, goodbye. You know, like if you could do it in like 5 seconds or whatever. Yeah. There was a certain amount of time that they wouldn't count towards a minute if you did it like extremely fast.
And so texting was insanely expensive.
I know. I remember like texting and you were just like, this is the worst. Yeah. Like who created that in a board meeting when they're like, you can spend an hour texting or 5 seconds calling someone.
And you have to use T9, so you press like 4 times
to
get to a letter, and then you go past it.
Like, But you know what the best thing was? Snake.
Snake
was amazing.
On a good old Nokia.
Oh my gosh, those were amazing. I thought Snake was probably on everything. It was so great.
Oh, that was good.
You know, one of the things that was interesting that we saw on the trending things was there's a thing called this guy called Dude Dad. And I know we've written like a couple articles about him. He has like a following on the internet. What's that? There's a thing called the internet, all human knowledge, but not a lot of wisdom. Which he probably has wisdom. he wrote something that I know went viral, was about having 3 kids. And I thought it was kind of interesting, just talking about like the difficulty and the difference about having 3 kiddos. I have 4 kiddos.
You passed him up.
You have 2 kiddos.
I'm almost there.
You know what I will say that was interesting on the 3 kiddo side? It is a lot of work. Like it does feel different. And I think from a dad perspective, it's just like a psychological difference. If you're like, oh man, like, I don't know, maybe most dads don't do this, but a lot of dads I've talked to do this, is you're always thinking about like the threat analysis of all times. Yeah. Okay. So we just got a bunch of chickens. We have 8 chickens, 1 rooster and 1 duck. And like, you just see the rooster and he's just out there like looking at all times if there's any threat, you know what I mean? And it's like the same thing, I think, from a dad perspective, but for some reason you feel like when there's 2 kids, you got it. Like you can grab them and you go, you know what I mean? But I don't know why 3, it was like a psychological thing of like, man, one of them's going to die. Who you're going to sacrifice at all times? It's fun. No, I'm just kidding. But the thing is that it just was like a much, much higher level of work. You know what I mean? But the thing that was shocking for me was, you know how everyone was like, oh, 3 kids is a ton of work, you know, and like 4 kids is like no different. I was like, yeah, right. You guys are just making that up.
True.
Totally true.
Interesting.
There's literally no difference.
Huh.
Like when you have 4 kids, you're just like, oh, you already did it. Like even when we watched your 2 kids for like a day,
Yeah.
like that added 2 more kids. So 6 kids.
They just kind of meld into.
There's no difference. It was like, okay.
It's
like
a
they're
little
all
amoeba
no
of
difference than like
people.
3. It's like 3 is like insane. And then like everything else is just like, oh, I don't know why. It's just
3 is
no
the
different.
threshold where you're
3 is
outnumbered.
like the threshold,
and, that's just
then
how it
you're
goes.
just like, it's fine. After
Interesting.
that, you know?
Interesting.
But he was talking about how hard it was, but meaningful. And I think that's true. But that's literally everything in the Christian walk. It's hard,
But meaningful.
hard, but
Yeah.
meaningful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the other thing is like what I didn't realize is like what a significant difference it makes when the child is older. Because, you know, we had like 3 kids under 4.
Yeah.
That was like insane. You know what I mean? Like that was like a Herculean, like really crazy thing. But
Yeah.
like when they're older, like it's actually just kind of like a
Regulating.
regulating
Yeah.
thing. Like Nina runs around and she'll pick up Lila and make sure she doesn't die. You know?
That's a good thing.
Like they all like kind of look after each other in a little
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's kind of cool. I just think that like one of the things about being a parent is just like the acceptance of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And it's just okay that it's not ordered and structured. And I think it actually is like a really valuable thing from a faith journey perspective because it teaches you like so much of society like tries to order things and it tries to give you like constant
Gratification.
Exactly. Like constant gratification. And it's like all of being a parent is the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
It's just slow, long-term gratification.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I mean, there are moments of just like
It's a marathon.
extreme joy when you like just get to tickle them. You know what I mean? And it's just like, this is amazing. But the thing is that, or like when they're like at the zoo, you know, I mean, that's like next level awesome. But the thing is, not going to Disneyland is not that awesome.
I was gonna say, Disneyland.
They're overstimulated and they hate you.
And it's crowded and it's hot.
But I just think that like it is interesting because it's like in God's economy, like we almost forget about the value of being slow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like kids teach you that.
Well, I
That
think you
it's
mentioned
okay, like
in the travel episode of not ripping open the snack pack for them and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Kind of letting
just
them.
letting them do that.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just it's okay to be slow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we don't have to get 20 things ordered at a time. Like that's not even like the way it works. Like it's more like imagine the fact that like when Jesus is talking, like he praises Mary, not Martha.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of a mind-blowing thing because like all of society is based on Martha.
Yeah.
You know, like getting as much done
As fast as possible.
as fast as possible. When really like Mary just was chilling with Jesus. But it's actually like if you switch your mindset, it's like incredible.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually like a very like fulfilling, like
you don't feel the pressure of.
joyous element. And it is cool like how God creates it that people, like the kids like develop different sensibilities in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we were just sitting around the other day and Charlie loves reference books.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's just reading about, that's my oldest. He's just reading about animals all times. He's reading about anything, like anything that's in a reference book, he loves it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's cool that like you can see their own like passions in the mix.
Yeah.
You
They
know?
apply it to whatever they're interested in and stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know if I agree with him that 3 are the best. No, I'm just kidding. I think whatever God sends you in the mix, you know what I mean? It can be joyous to have 3. It can be joyous to have. I mean, my brother has 9 and he loves it. I feel like you'd die at 9, but he loves it.
It's interesting the way you said it was kind of like the self-regulating system because even when all 9 of them came to visit, they were staying at the house. It was kind of like, you know, some go off and do their thing, some they break off into little pods, and they're all doing their own little things together. So certain age groups like to work together and hang out and stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see how they really do self-regulate, hanging out and playing and reading and all that stuff too.
Yeah, it is so awesome to see them come up with their own like games and ideas and stuff. But
it is chaotic.
Yeah, yeah.
When everyone wants lunch or dinner, it gets.
Oh my gosh! But to be fair, also the husband could be extremely grumpy about food, angry.
Ooh, guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time.
You've been listening to the Movie Guide Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe on wherever you're watching podcasts or listening to podcasts, and we will catch you next week, right? I have no idea.
Why are you asking me?
I don't know.
Yes, you will catch us again.